The war in Ukraine has reached a critical moment. President Biden has made a decision that could change everything. He has authorized the use of long-range missiles by Ukraine. These missiles will target Russian positions. This is a major escalation of US involvement in the conflict. It marks a turning point in the war. For months, Ukraine has pleaded for more powerful weapons. They say they need them to defend against Russian attacks. They argue that Russia has an unfair advantage with its long-range artillery. The US has been hesitant to provide these weapons. Why the hesitation? The US and its allies worry about provoking Russia. They fear a wider war. But the recent escalation by Russia has changed the calculation. The involvement of North Korean troops in support of Russia has raised the stakes. President Biden's decision is a clear signal. The US will stand with Ukraine. But this decision also carries significant risks. It could lead to a direct confrontation between the US and Russia. The world watches with bated breath. The missiles in question are called ATACMS. They are highly accurate and can travel over 190 miles. To put that in perspective, imagine striking a target in New York City from Washington, D.C. These missiles could allow Ukraine to hit Russian command centers, supply lines, and even air bases located within Russia itself. This is a game changer for Ukraine. Until now, they have been limited to striking targets inside Ukraine. With ATACMS, they can take the fight to the enemy. This could shift the balance of power in the conflict, but the ATACMS come with a warning label. Russia has already condemned their use. They see it as a major provocation. Russian officials warn of unpredictable consequences. What does this mean? Nobody knows for sure, but it highlights the risk of escalation. The world is now a more dangerous place. The use of ATACMS could trigger a chain of events. This could lead to a wider war, a war that nobody wants. The world is watching President Biden's decision with a mixture of support and fear. Ukraine's allies, particularly in Eastern Europe, have welcomed the move. They have long argued for giving Ukraine the weapons it needs to defend itself. However, other countries are more cautious. France and Germany, key NATO members, have expressed concern about the risk of escalation. They fear that providing Ukraine with long-range missiles could provoke a disproportionate response from Russia. The United Nations has called for restraint from all sides. They urge a return to diplomacy. But with tensions running high, finding a peaceful solution seems more difficult than ever. The world is holding its breath. Will this decision lead to a wider conflict, or will it force Russia to the negotiating table? Only time will tell. Section 4. What does this mean for America's future? President Biden's decision has major implications for US foreign policy. It signals a more assertive approach to Russia. It shows that the US is willing to take risks to support its allies. This decision will also have consequences for the next US administration. The new president will inherit a complex and dangerous situation. They will have to navigate the fallout from this decision. Some argue that this decision is necessary to deter further Russian aggression. They believe that weakness only invites more aggression. Others argue that it is a reckless gamble. They fear it could lead to a catastrophic war. Only time will tell what the ultimate consequences of this decision will be. But one thing is certain: the world has entered a new and dangerous chapter. Section 5. The clock is ticking. The urgent need for peace. The world stands at a crossroads. The war in Ukraine has reached a critical juncture. The threat of a wider conflict looms large. Now, more than ever, we need level heads and a commitment to peace. The use of long-range missiles is a dangerous escalation. It brings us closer to the brink of a catastrophic war. We must find a way to de-escalate the situation. We must return to the negotiating table. The stakes are too high to let this conflict spiral out of control. The future of Ukraine, of Europe, and perhaps even of the world hangs in the balance. We must act now to prevent a global catastrophe. The time for diplomacy is now. We must urge our leaders to pursue a peaceful resolution to this conflict. Too many lives have already been lost. Too much is at stake. We must act before it's too late.